Coming to you live from downtown Detroit, this is Benzinga's PreMarket Prep with your host, Joel Elconin.
This is a volatile puppy here, isn't it?
And Dennis Dick.
I've bidden a penny. I will buy the stock for a penny.
With everything you need to start your trading day. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this Wednesday edition of Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep. I'm Spencer Israel. As always, joined by Joel Elconin and Dennis Dick on the show today. A busy one with earnings. Got a few earnings stocks to discuss. Reporting yesterday after the bell end this morning. MRVL, Autodesk. We've got Lazy Boy later today, so maybe we'll get the famous Dennis Lazy Boy story, or maybe that'll be on tomorrow's show. CMG's halted. Maybe we'll discuss that, some consolidation, more consolidation in the restaurant space. We'll have to wait and see what that'll be later on today when the news comes out. Hopefully during the show, we'll take your questions from our chat as always. Premarket.benzinga.com, and our guest today is Tim Melvin. He's the author of Banking on Profit on the MarketFi platform. He's our small community bank analyst. Expert, I should say. So he knows everything there is to know about that sector, and he'll be on to break it down for us. Joel, how's it going this morning in the markets?
S&P futures are trading up 275. Absolutely incredible rally yesterday, midday after the North Korean missile launch. We came roaring back. We've already taken out the high from yesterday, so 29.75 is your pre-market high. We'll be looking for that to continued upside. Crude down 11 cents here, kind of flat on the session at 57.88. Gold struggling at 1,300 again, down 290 at 1296.30. And silver back under 17, trading down 6 cents and trading at $11,117.70, up 11%. Bitcoin, Dennis, and after one,
it's just in rocket ship mode, just rocket ship mode.
And one day, I try to do.
Joel, you're going to be rich. You're going to retire on these shares.
I just don't know what to do. It's the best performing asset in my portfolio. I tried.
You had it for 5 days, and you're up like 50%.
Oh no, this is a long-term investment. I think I've had it since the middle of the month.
How long you had it?
November 16th.
That's okay. So a week and a half.
I tried to do levels on it.
It's unbelievable. I mean, full rocket ship mode. It's, the futures are coming, and they are just buying this thing ahead of it. I heard that, like, Coinbase, is this right? Or one of them is opening like 50,000 accounts a day?
More accounts than Charles Schwab. Coinbase.
Coinbase has more accounts than Charles Schwab.
Correct.
And that's basically just to trade Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Because you can trade the other ones, but the other ones don't trade anyways. What's the volume like on the other one? So Bitcoin gets the majority of the action and gets the majority. What's the volume on like that Ethereum, or I don't even know.
Dennis, I got a great site for you, and you can pull it up real quick right now.
Give it to me.
CoinMarketCap.com.
I think you gave us the other day on the show. CoinMarketCap. I'm going there right now. .com. All right, let's look at these volumes here. Oh yeah, so there's Bitcoin, $11,117. Volume is, it's in dollar amounts, so it's traded $9 billion in the last 24 hours. Ethereum trades $1.9 billion worth. What's Bitcoin Cash? What the hell is the difference between Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash?
You'll have to wait for our Bitcoin special show on the 19th of December to find out.
All right, Ripple dash Bitcoin Gold. Oh, there's Bitcoin Gold too. There's Bitcoin everything.
Litecoin.
Wow.
IOTA.
Litecoin's there, 103.57. Monero, NEO, EOS, Zcash, Oh My's Go. Who came up with these names? Tether, BitConnect, Populous, Ardor. Sounds like something from what was that movie there? Lord of the Rings, doesn't it? Ardor.
How about?
And there's Augur. Sounds like something you used to dig holes. Ark. The Ark of the Covenant there. Oh, there's all kinds of things there. Wow.
How about, where is the PMP coin? Pre-market prep coin.
We should have created a coin, and we would be retired right now. That's all you need to do is do an ICO, launch it, and say, oh, yeah, okay, this is a place to store money, and we're rich.
Robinhood, and the tax implications. Well, I'm never going to sell mine. But actually, I was talking with one of our guests that's going to be a special panelist, and he's going to treat it as a capital gain, any profits that he takes. So
do they even know how to do it? You have to? You don't even have to do that.
I don't know. He said it's going to be nearly impossible to figure out.
There's no way to track it. Do you think people are actually going to, declare the gains on these things? Legally, they should, but there's no way to track it, right? That's the whole point to it.
Oh, founder of Chipotle steps away from CEO position.
They got a new one, yeah. So
yeah.
It changes up quickly. I mean, I was still talking Bitcoin, but yeah, CMG. So the search for a new CEO, or it begins a new search for the CEO. Looks like Els is stepping down. Oh no, Els is going to become the executive chairman, and they're forming a search committee to identify a new CEO. Who steps down when they don't even have an idea of the new CEO? It sounds pretty tough, doesn't it?
Steve Els, this is the guy who this is the founder of Chipotle. This is the guy who
he's stepping down.
Yeah.
So this is going to be good news or bad news. Maybe it's good news because they probably want to shake up, eh?
I think it's the good news. I think a lot of people don't lack faith in him. If you remember how he was against queso forever, and now they have queso, and I think people, I think some people are tired of Steve Els, or they don't believe that he is the man to lead them forward, going forward. But so I think this will be good news. I think the stock will pop off this.
I ate a queso yesterday.
You had it?
Believe it or not, days ago. Yeah, they have them in Canada. I ate one. I ate a queso there for supper there a couple days ago. Pretty good. Pretty good. I'd been in there like a long time ago, but I was like trying to figure out something easy to eat. Had my the kids with me, and I'm like trying to figure out what's easy. I'm like, we'll do a little burrito queso. It's pretty good.
Just be aware. I mean, remember when GE named their new CEO? It got a big pop and then eventually just cratered. So sometimes you get an initial.
CMG is not GE though, or maybe it is. The charts look the same over the last couple of years.
Just looks itchy. I mean, it's been in a trading range. I just want to alert our traders that since it's made that multi-year low. The top of that trading range has been a couple days ago. You bumped your head up 291.51, went off the board at 85.86. So after that, you get into a gap area coming down the low of the move, 263 even.
All right, let's move into some other stocks here this morning. We had a couple of earnings reports here. We got a couple interesting ratings changes. We got some crazy movers from yesterday. The banks were honestly incredible moves yesterday. Square is so volatile, has a 10% range, it seems like every day. At least yesterday, it rallied, it sold off, and then it rallied up 10%, it sold off. That thing's the most volatile stock. Where do you want to go? Joel, lead the way.
Earnings.
Marvel, last night, MRVL. That's probably, well, you know what? Autodesk. Let's go Autodesk first because it's a bigger mover. It's down big here in the pre-market. It's getting absolutely annihilated. ADSK, Spencer, details.
Q3 adjusted EPS of a 12-cent loss versus a 13-cent loss estimate, so they beat it by a penny. Sales of a $515.3 versus $513.47 million, so a slight beat on the sales number as well. Their Q4 EPS guidance coming in higher to in line with the estimate. Their sales guidance for Q4 coming in line as well. Fiscal year adjusted EPS coming in just below the estimated fiscal year. Sales guidance coming in just below the estimate as well. So nothing too bad, but nothing too great out of the guidance for the Q4 and for the fiscal year. They did have some interesting comments on the conference call as well. The CEO did, but I think just lack of great guidance. What I would say.
Our pre-market traders would know when you look at a chart like this going into earnings. What does it got to do?
Chat.
Are you talking to me?
I can talk to anyone.
Talk to anyone.
I'll ask you, Joel. What does it got to do?
Away.
Stock is
blow it away.
Running up this much in earnings. What's it got to do to go higher?
Blow it away and give unbelievable guidance.
And it did neither of those things. And that is why it's trading down. So always cautious buying a chart like that into earnings, especially after this earnings season when they destroyed all of these stocks that were running up in earnings. So you had stocks that actually reported good earnings, almost blew it away. And some of them some I would argue did blow it away. And they still got sold off when, they run up into the report. Ran up too much. It's not good enough. Stock's down 12%. I mean, you could have traded this earnings season and, been better off than the insiders if you knew just that tip, that when the stock's going straight up into the report, you don't buy. And when the stock's going straight down to the report, it's been a pretty good buy. That's the way this earnings season has went.
All right. Autodesk got real excited here on that initial print. Took it down to 109 even. But since then, buyers have stepped up here. And so, I mean, this is not going to be a level I'm going to hang my hat on, but we are trading at 113.50. Seems to be finding some support after that initial decline at the 112 area. And then I'm looking on the dailies and I see 111.67, 112.35. So I'll split that and I'll call 112 even minor support. If not, maybe see that pre-market low. But it looks like buyers are stepping up here a little bit. Dennis, what you got any take on it technically?
You know what?
You
had those couple lows. You could argue the 109. I think you gave them a good level there because it kind of coincides with the 108.65, 108.83. Whenever the pre-market low coincides with, a level where you had a double bottom before, it makes the level relevant. But really, when you put this in perspective, it's still been an unbelievable performer. This trend is still intact here. I mean, as long as the stock, doesn't start breaching, I would say like the 105 area, and then you start thinking about 100. I think, there could be some bottom fishers fishing around in this thing at that 110 level you're talking about.
All right, and we'll move on here. And what other you
MRVL reported last night, and the stock got a nice lift on its earnings report. Marvel has been the beneficiary of that merger with Cavium. And that's really, the big pop you see here, obviously popped up on the rumors they were going to do something, and then it popped up when they bought them. And it's had decent earnings here. It had decent earnings here as well. Not up huge, though, on it. It's already been up so much.
The Q3 adjusted EPS, 34 cents, beat by a penny. Sales of 616 for $613 million. So they beat the sales as well. Q4 EPS guidance coming in higher. Q4 sales guidance coming in lower. So mixed on the guidance, but beat on the top and the bottom for their Q3 earnings.
I'm just going to say that 24.22 level, that was the high from 3 days ago. I know we got up into the mid 24s there on this report last night, and it's come off, but it's kind of been quiet consolidation since then. Joel, what do you think technically here?
I think that's your level. I mean, I think you had the big bump, probably caught some people off guard, right? Do a merger. You're not supposed to go straight up. That's what you did. You had a high 24.22. Another time you peaked in 2010 at the $24 area. Once again, so I keep an eye on that. Pre-market highs just above that. Of course, above that, things really open up 25, 26, 27.
I'm sorry.
Full disclosure, I do have a position on an MRVL too. I'm short that, but I'm long Cavium against it. Got the pair on.
I apologize. I misread the headline. They beat for Q4 guidance. Their EPS and their sales are both higher. So good guidance all around.
Good guidance, decent report. Stock's trading up. Just cautious because you do have that pesky little high there, and the stock has been running up in the report, although for different reasons. Jump over here to this morning, and we had Tiffany report. TIF stock is trading down here in the pre-market. What do we got from TIF?
80 cents versus 76 cents, so a 4-cent beat. Sales of 976 versus $957 million, so beat on the sales number as well. And that's all I got for you. So beat on both.
Tiffany was up a little bit, down a little bit last night, but really not doing that much. This morning, it's kind of muted trading action here too. It's been in a range. This stock has been, this stock, which historically has a little bit of volatility, has been in a quiet consolidation period all year. I mean, you look to the yearly 2017. I mean, we've basically just been hanging out in the 90s here. Think about how volatile retailers have been. Think about how volatile, there's been in some individual stocks. This Tiffany's, which historically has some volatility, has just been quiet here in the 90s.
Yeah, it's one of the retailers that if you can go in and buy a real expensive ring, you kind of want to go in there and look at it and put it on your hand or a necklace or whatnot. Has been in a trading range. My level on this one is trading down into pre-market 50 cents. I'd have to see what happens at $92 if in fact it gets there. A couple lows around the $92 area. In fact, one from yesterday and then one from the 21st. So good to go on the upside as long as it holds 92. Coming back on the upside, you want to see it green. After a report like this, it gets above 94.04. The recent or yesterday's high was 94.70. So got major resistance coming up at 95. That's been the wall since October.
8:15.
And we have an 8:35 guess.
Oh, it's 8:35. Spencer told me on the pre-market show that Tim Melvin was coming on at 8:15.
No, I didn't.
So yeah, you did. I wish I was taping the pre-market show because I was like, oh, 8:15. It's early today. So I said, what time's the guest? Or I said, is the guest at 8:15? He said, yes, it is. You obviously just responded to me and we're paying attention to my question.
My apologies.
You just responded yes. Okay, so 8:35. So we got 20 minutes still for me to talk to you guys. Okay, CMG actually, Spinner just said it did reopen here, trading up $7 here right now. So getting a nice little lift here in the pre-market on this news of the potential new CEO. I'd say $300. What do you think, Joel? $300, nice round number.
It's getting in that area, the area of the gap fill. So I'm not going to stick my nose out and say any resistance at 300 as long as we stay above 291.51. In all honesty, I don't see any resistance until 318.25. That was the low on the day before it had the real bad report. I mean, you might have some short-term profit takers in here. It looks like
I would be one of them.
Yeah, it would be
if I had it.
It's short-term here. So looking at that, also keep an eye on the highs of the pre-market session, which we haven't made yet. Well, 93.80 right now, but just in a real gappy area. So be careful if you're short this one.
Jump over here just to the ratings for a minute. We're doing them a little bit early, but there's some interesting ones here. Allergan AGN, which got love last night from Kramer. So Kramer was coming on there pumping it on Mad Money. It was trading up to 174 last night just with Kramer pumping it. Well, it's getting more love here this morning. So Morgan Stanley upgrading the stock to overweight. Price target, what did I say, $200? What's the price target, Spencer?
Kramer's price target? Or,
no, not Kramer's.
I was going to say
Morgan Stanley's.
This morning. I don't think I saw one this morning. Let me
Pretty
confirm.
sure I saw one go by. I thought it was $200, but I don't have it in front of me there. Around $200. We'll just say we're a guesstimate here because I don't have it right in front of me there either. Full disclosure, I still own this one in my invest portfolio, so I'm happy it's upgraded. But that being said, it seems like every time it is $200 price target. Every single time it seems like Allergan gets a pop. It is met with more sellers. This stock is one of the most hated stocks in the market here right now. So difficult to just come in here and be a buyer on a stock that's been this hated.
Long consolidate, well, not long, but you've had some really tight ranges here, and actually you made a new low of the move yesterday at 168.43, a couple lows under 170 as well, and then the top of this trading range has been 177.61, and that was your November 6 high there. So, man, just kind of quiet trading action. I don't think I could get real excited about it until it was at least in the 178 handle.
Domino's Pizza catching an upgrade from Nomura, another stock that has been in the doghouse here, getting a little bit of love here this morning. Trading up $2 here on the upgrade. A lot of overhead resistance to get up near that 180 area, though. So another one that I don't know if I'm going with them.
A lot of resistance here at 180. You've had three highs in the 180 handle. Let's see what's going on in the pre-market. Very spotty trades here, but I don't know. I'd rather buy to 181 than 179.
And Walmart catching an upgrade at RBC, and that stock is trading up 48 cents. I think it's just a neutral, though. This one has really been consolidation station. We know we had the huge gap up after earnings, a little bit of sell-off. Now just kind of hanging out. So I'm kind of waiting to go with the winner. I would say if this thing starts to get above 97, 92, 98 bucks, then you start thinking, okay, we're going to 100. We start breaking down through yesterday's low around 95.80 because you got double bottom. If you go back to 95.76 from 5 days ago, then I start thinking, okay, we're going lower. So another one that's in consolidation station, and I'm going with the direction that appears to win once that happens.
All right. Could you give me, I was taking a note here. Could you give me that stock one more time?
Oh, Walmart. Sorry.
Oh, Walmart. Okay. Yeah. No, you said it right. Look at this. All kinds of support here at 96 here, right? So Dennis identified the support. 96 to 98. That's after you had the big mood. Am I just repeating what you said, Dennis? I'm sorry.
Pretty much. Yeah. We just read each other's minds here now. 98.01. If it breaks out through 98, I like it as long. If it breaks down through 95, 76, or whatever that low was from 5 days ago, 6 days ago, then I like it as a short. So in this middle of this range, it's called a sit on hands trade, 8 SOH.
All right, definitely Walmart range bound. And then I'm sure the orders are stacking up. Like you think it gets above 98, and you're like, oh, it's going to 100. I don't know. There are a lot of people that got caught in that vacuum from when it hit 10013 back down and went under 96. So I think there's going to be some pesky offers moving up in that area. Not quite like it was on that earnings day.
Chat's buzzing about a bunch of different stocks. We're going to go Ed Parker first and talk Roku, because Roku got Citron yesterday. And we know what happens when Andrew Luff sees a stock rally for too long. The bubble buster comes through in the clutch, and Roku, he comes out with his tweet, and we know what happens after that. Stock starts to go down. So here we are. Roku broke through 50. We should just go. Do you have the tweet in front of you, the Citron tweet that actually caused this thing to fall 10% there yesterday, Spencer?
Let me see right here.
Go on Andrew Luff's countdown. The most powerful Twitter account. I'm going to say it's more powerful than Donald Trump, at least when it comes to stock market.
Here we go. Ready?
Incredible.
Time to pop some real bubbles. Roku, total joke. Citron Trust Mark Mahaney at $28 price target, and that is if they can hold comp back. Today's needed research is irresponsible. And then he
$20 price target, and he calls it a joke.
and then he said, unless Roku,
professionalism here is amazing.
Unless Roku finds a way to stream a BTC, like a Bitcoin, this stock is much lower, all caps.
If Roku mentions Bitcoin, Citron will be in trouble on this one.
This is a tough one. Ed Parker was talking about this one yesterday. And, Dennis, I think you made the good call. You said, that's just one high there. It takes it out. Good potential for it to keep going. That's exactly what it did. Got all the way up to 51.80 before Mr. Left pulled the rug out from under it. Right now, to me, it's all about $44. That's even below yesterday's low. Yesterday's low was $44.66. Seem to have, just as in the pre-market from yesterday and after hours, and just to me, you don't hold 44. Boom, you see 40. That's my take. It just really needs to hold 44 on the upside. 46.43. I'm sure a lot of people would like to see the mark. I believe, and that was an all-time closing high. All-time closing high, 46.52. So if you get back into that 46.5 area, just remember there's two closes there to keep an eye on.
CMG is kissing 300 here right now. Just touched up to 399, 295. I saw there. Or 299, sorry. 299. I just saw a click buy. So kissing up there near $300. I still think you're going to have major resistance.
I don't think so, Dennis. I think
that big hole. I got to go to the buck.
There's nothing there. Buck. I'm 300 bid.
Yeah, CMG.
I'm 300 bid for 5,000.
No, there's nothing there. There's nothing. Not much there.
I'm
but
300 bid for
that
5,000.
being said, I just think there it is.
Oh, there I go. 345. Now 300 and a half bid for 5,000.
It's bid 345. Amazing. You just say we're going to search for a new CEO and boom, market cap and market wealth created. I guess, he's running it kind of into the, ground as of late here. So market is happy and applauding that he is stepping down, but I don't know how excited I'm getting here. Although Joel's told you there's a lot of gap here.
There we go. 302 and a half, 303 bid.
Blowing through my 300 resistance.
Yeah, that was just.
Remember VERI, though, blew through my support level, and then I didn't buy it because it was blowing through the support level in the pre-market, and then I never touched in the regular session. But I tell you right now, I don't know if they're saying something more.
304.
Holy cow, this thing is doing a rocket. Just 303. I got to go look. Is there something else being said, Spencer? Did they find the new CEO already? They searched the search committee. Have they found it? No.
World's fastest CEO search. No, they didn't.
It took 15 minutes. We've got a new one for you there.
Yeah, and I think it's something to do with Bitcoin. I think they're going to be starting their.
They're going to accept Bitcoin at Chipotle.
Going to get their.
That's what they just announced, probably.
303.19 here.
We will accept. We are installing a Bitcoin machine. Actually, we just need a Square machine now, apparently.
All right.
All right. Moving on from Chipotle. Ratings. Do you see any of the ratings, Spencer, you want to talk about, or should we go start recapping yesterday's action?
You got the big ones, which are Domino's and Allergan. Those are the two big on my radar. If I see another one across my screen, I will let you know. But at the moment, no.
Okay, Spinner making a great point in the chat. It says this market keeps rotating. Yesterday, banks and retail, and we're going up. And we know those banks, we got to talk about those in a second. Those were absolutely incredible moves yesterday. The money was coming out of FANG. It was coming out of Facebook. It was coming out of Google. It was coming, I don't know if it came out of Amazon, a little bit out of Amazon. And it was coming not out of Netflix. Netflix has been decoupled from FANG. Now it does its own thing. So we need to come up with a new acronym because Netflix isn't cool anymore. Or maybe it is cooler than FANG because FANG was down yesterday and Netflix was up. But we need to come up with a new acronym because the N in FANG is not moving with the other stocks as of late.
Some people put FANG or whatever. Put the micro.
We need Apple there. So let's eliminate the N. So we would have F-A.
We already have this.
Let's say that. So
we already have it, Dennis. From June, that Goldman Sachs note, FAMG, FAAMG, Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Microsoft, Google.
305.
Facebook.
FAMG? That's not very good. What the hell's a FAMG?
Do you remember that brief?
I know what a FANG is.
Listen,
like
do you remember that momentary sell-off in tech back in June across the sector?
Yes.
That Goldman Sachs note? Right. Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Microsoft, Google. He compared those 5 stocks to the dot-com bubble. That's what prompted.
But it's a bad acronym. FAMG.
I don't make the rules.
What is a FAMG? We can come up with something better than that. Come on, chat. We need to come up with a better acronym. I don't know if I want Microsoft in there or not. I definitely want Apple in there, though. But so it could be like GAF or there's some bad words in there too. Okay, we need to find some other.
You gotta put Bitcoin in there too.
We need Bitcoin in our acronym, but Bitcoin just goes straight up. It's its own acronym in itself. We'll just change that to like straight up, so it just goes up. We'll just change the ticker symbol to UP. One directional. Is that more now? Bitcoin to rally another $500 since we've been talking.
No, but CMG just hit 305.
You talked about it. You said that gap area. Boom. I said 300. Joel said 318. So boom. There you go.
Yeah, there's two. I wish I had a lunch bet on that one. Let's see here. Bitcoin, the impossible instrument to chart. It's holding in here at 11,110.70. Dennis, I just wanted to make a comment about that. I mean, $11,000. I mean, yeah, that sounds a lot because it was at, such a lower price. But, what if some of the big boys are in here and, they could just got, millions of dollars to be thrown?
I think that's what's happening. I think the big boys is what's pumping this right now. You got some big boys coming in maybe here. I mean, it's all accounts opening 50,000 accounts a day.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Incredible. They have more accounts than Charles Schwab. That's incredible. So I don't know. I think you're experiencing, the upside capitulation here right now. Where it bursts, who knows though? This thing has been a rocket ship. Like I thought it was a rocket ship when it was at 4,000. I mean, it's at 11,000 here now. Sure, glad I wasn't shorting it. I guess it's impossible to short anyways, but are very difficult to do. But once you're able to come in here and start shorting it, it's going to be interesting too. You get the futures, start betting on the downside on it. I mean, I know from just my trading experience there. When you have difficulty shorting things, bubbles, and you can call it a bubble, you can call it, I'm going to call it a bubble. It doesn't, anything can go into a bubble at certain points in time. It doesn't mean that Bitcoin isn't for real. It doesn't mean Bitcoin can't go higher. But when something goes from like 4,000 to 11,000 in a month or 2 months, it's a bubble. So it's a matter of how big the bubble gets, and it will pop eventually, and then maybe it reinflates and starts going again. But, a lot of people like to equate a bubble saying, oh, it's like the tulips and, it's not for real. No, it was tech bubbles, a lot of different, bubbles that happen over the course of time. Every stock really goes and gets bubbly every once in a while. Right now, Bitcoin's in a bubble too, but who knows how much this inflates. It's right now, the old Nick Shaheen saying, too high to chase for me, and for me, and I just don't like the fundamentals, so I'll probably never chase it. And too hot to short, and too hard to short. So that's why I'm still out on Bitcoin. But congrats, Joel, you're making some money.
Was talking about it, Jeff, yesterday, and we were talking about the bubble aspects of it. And man, I wish we had I can't wait till the future start trading on this, but. It's just kind of been I mean, you've had $1,000 days and stuff, but it's just grinding. Like if it had if it went like to 15,000 and 20,000, 25,000 like in 3 days, but it's just grinding. It's just grinding its way higher in a parabolic fashion.
Grinding by $10 or $1,000. Well, it seems like 1,000. Well, how much? 10 to 11,000. How long did that take?
Last night.
So what are you talking about? They went up 10% last night. It's crazy. You want to start going 15,000, 20? You want to start going up 50% a night?
Yes.
You're greedy. You're greedy, man.
What?
10%. Joel's up 10%.
10?
Last night on his investment, and he's telling you it's not enough.
Oh, no.
You're up 10%.
Oh, last night.
Last night. Right.
What do you think about this?
You know how hard I work for 10%?
Do you think
people work all year for 10%? You made it in one night, and you still want more?
That's the top, then, right? What do you think about the American and the SIBO doing battle on this for the futures?
Well, I tweeted out an article last night from Jim Angel over at Georgetown. He is informed. I mean, and we're talking, maybe we could get him on the show as well. Jim Angel is very informed. He's been following Bitcoin really since the inception. I saw Jim talking about this 5 years ago. So Jim really follows us very well there. And I'll give the link in the chat as well. And he's talking about the futures battle here. He's got a 7-page article here on Seeking Alpha that he just wrote, just got published last night on Bitcoin. And there it is in the chat for you guys. And if you follow my Twitter account, you can go to search under my name and it's there as well. He's got a great article there. Jim does some great work. So it's going to be interesting. CBOE, CME, going to be taught trading. I mean, it's going to help to bring in the volatility. That's one thing it will do. You won't be seeing these crazy moves because once you get, more participation, things thicken up. So you get different ways to participate. All of a sudden, it's easier to short because you're going to have futures available. Eventually you probably have options available. I mean, there's going to be easier ways to short this thing. And then, you're going to start to see the volatility at least come in. We're not saying it's necessarily going to go down, but volatility will come in on this.
All right. Let's just talk a little bit about imbalances and some size here. And we got a battle going on here at 1850 and GE. We've been talking about this level. We've had 5-6 highs there since it made that 1746 low. Dennis, is the book grown at 1850 there?
Yeah, so I looked this morning. You asked me to look at the book, and the book opens at 7:30 where you can start seeing it, but it continues to grow. Believe it or not, I can't see any farther now because it starts to fill up with all other. Geez, book fills up so fast. I'm going to show you so many levels, and people are offering it with marketable limits down to 1477 in the book. Obviously, those are going to get filled much higher. But I did see 600,000 shares there this morning at 1850. 600,000. Considering that the stock in the entire pre-market has only traded 90,000, 1850 is going to be a brick wall for it. So it's probably over 1 million shares at 1850. If it could take 1850 out, that's the breakout. You can see on the charts, like you were just speculating that there was something in the book because it got up there last couple of days, 1844, 1850, 1838, back, on the 16th of November, 1848. Whenever you see a level challenged 3, 4, 5 times not going through it, you almost can guarantee that it's because there's somebody sitting there and perched, and it takes a lot of money to take that out. So think about it. Even if it stays at 600,000 shares, 1850, you're talking about an order, on an $18 stock. I can't even do that math. 6 million. It's like $10 million order to take out those 600,000 shares. So somebody's got to come in big. Some big fish has to come in to take that out because there's no retail trader coming in buying $10 million worth of GE.
But then from the other perspective, I mean, how many shares does it trade in a day? I mean, it trades.
Oh yeah, I can easily take it out in the pre-market. I'm talking, we want to go to the regular session, the institution's there, and there will be an institution that says, okay, I'll buy 10 million, go. I mean, that just happens. So eventually it does get taken out. And when it gets taken out, then it opens up. So, breakouts often happen. From a technical perspective, you say, oh, technically that was a big level. But usually those big levels form because there's somebody sitting there with a big order. So I still say when you look at the order flow, you get ahead of the technicals. And that's why I'm an order flow trader and not a pure technical trader. Technicals kind of give me a hint. Hey, go take a look at the book. I look at this chart like you did last night in GE saying it's got to be something there in the book. So the technicals gave you a hint that maybe there's something there in the book. You look at the book, it verifies your information that there is something there, and then you know that level is absolutely enormous.
Any kind of imbalance?
1851 New York, I'm bullish.
What? Any imbalance?
167,000 to buy. So small buy and balance there. That's obviously not enough to take out the 600,000 share buyer at 1850. So I think it's going to open below 1850, probably opens in the 1848, 1849 area. And if this balance holds, and then, you have to see if it's going to have the push to get through it. But like you always say, Joel, getting running start at it.
Exactly. All right. It is
Square
now
SQ. Just before we go to Melvin, 317,000 to buy in SQ. So our buy and balance guy is back in Square. Square was wild last night. We'll talk about that after.
All right. Who we got coming up, Spencer?
Tim Melvin. He's the author of Banking on Profit. He's our small bank expert, and we'll be right back with Tim to break down the entire banking sector with us in a moment. Welcome back, everyone, to Benzinga's PreMarket Prep. I'm Spencer Israel, here with Joel Elconin and Dennis Dick, and we're on the line with Tim Melvin. He's the author of Banking on Profit. He knows the small bank sector probably better than anyone I know, at least. So he's an expert in the space. Tim, how's it going?
Going very well down here in Florida. How's things up in Michigan?
Things are okay. We're getting a little chilly, getting a little cold, but we're doing just fine. I'm sure it would be frigid for you because having been in Florida, but yeah, I think it's going great. So Tim, why don't you give us it's been a while since we spoke. I think we last had you on over the summer. So why don't you give us a brief rundown of what you're seeing right now in the small bank sector?
Well, I mean, we remain, Spencer, very much, we're in the sweet spot for the smaller banks right now. The bigger banks are starting to see some slower loan growth, but that's not the case. This last quarter, we had 7% year-over-year loan growth in the community banks. Earnings are coming along. We're seeing dividend increases. M&A activity slowed down a little bit in the sector, and that has to do with uncertainty over what's going to happen with Dodd-Frank and, of course, the alleged tax reform. A decline in corporate tax rates from 35, 39 down to 20 is huge for these small banks, and all that money is going to go right to the bottom line. So just had a great earnings season. In the two portfolios we've had 11 takeovers this year. So M&A may have slowed, but it hasn't stopped.
What specific names have been, obviously every name is on your radar to an extent, but what specific names have you been eyeing in the past few weeks or couple months?
All right, let me give you a couple from my old stomping grounds up in Maryland that I picked off the buy list this morning. There's 18 total names on the buy list. And these two are both in the Baltimore-Annapolis corridor, which is it's a fantastic place to do business if you're a bank. The first is Severn Savings. And, full disclosure, I know these guys really well. I have friends on the board of directors, know most of the people that work there. It's a great little bank. Family ties go back way into Annapolis, Maryland history. They know everything going on in the real estate market there. They got hit really hard in the credit crisis. In fact, they operated under a memorandum of understanding until a couple of years ago. But, they're back up and running.
Can we get the symbol on that one real quick, Tim? The symbol?
What? SVBI.
Okay.
Again, my stuff's not really heavily traded. So if any of you guys go out there and look at this bank and say, hey, that sounds really good, please use a limit order. If you don't use a limit order, it'll make me real happy because the stock will pop up, but it won't be good for you. 20% earnings increase this last quarter. Non-performing assets continue to trend down. They're just 0.94% of assets right now. And the stock's trading at 94% of book value. So I see no signs of any sort of serious economic collapse or credit difficulties. So this bank should just continue to percolate along pretty much regardless of what the overall market does. I like the bank a lot. About $750 million in assets. They need to get to the $1 billion mark. That's where you start to gain some scale on operating costs. And look, they have an incredibly attractive branch network in one of the wealthiest cities and counties in the United States. So for somebody to come in and make them an offer they can't refuse, well, that's just not out of the question. And my second pick would be a little further north in Anne Arundel County, and that's Glen Burnie Bancorp, GLBZ. Bank's over 100 years old, been there forever in the Baltimore kind of suburban area. Again, trading at 91% of book value. Non-performing assets are just 1% of total assets. And they have a fantastic direct or indirect auto lending business with local auto dealers. It's outstanding performance, higher yields than average. Of course, you're going to pay more for your car loan than for a house loan, but total loan losses on that thing, there's only 0.17% of their whole auto book that's 90 days past due. So they've got good relationships with the dealers. They do a great job of underwriting the loans, and that's about a third of their loan book. That's really going to drive bottom line growth, I think. And again, the stock's just at 91% of book value, 8 branches, about $350 million of total assets. So they got a long way to go to get to the $1 billion. And again, you've got that great branch network. It's attractively priced. You've got a core niche business that's very successful. For somebody to come in and make the directors of the bank an offer they can't refuse, just not out of the question in this environment. So that's 2, in a really strong area economically. That Baltimore, Washington corridor, lots of government employees, military exposure through the NSA and Fort George Meade there in the county. So just a great market to be in. And that's 2 banks that are, very attractively priced and could always, every bank's a potential takeover candidate in this environment. So there's my 2 bank picks for you guys. And the symbol on that is GLBZ.
I got it up there. Tim Melvin, deep value investor, banking on profits here. Let's move over to our region here in the Midwest. Things are perking up. I don't know if you've been to the Motor City lately, but things are looking good here downtown. A lot of development. We got some local banks. I know we've talked about Old Monroe Bank and Trust and MBTF down in my hometown where Custer was from. This thing's a little too high price for you now, bumping its head up against $12. So give us your take on Monroe Bank and Trust and any other things in the Midwest area you're keeping an eye on.
I kind of the only one up in your neck of the woods. We're still buying First Federal of Northern Michigan. I mean, that's way up there, small town bank, but trading very cheap on price to book value. Get that up here on the screen. Price to book is currently about 87% of tangible book value. Not a particularly exciting bank, but they're recovering. They're showing loan growth. They're taking market share away from bigger banks, and the stock is cheap. And that's pretty much all the criteria I need to buy one. So.
All right, what about the fallout from the hurricanes down in Florida and the Houston area? Major destruction. Did that have an impact on you personally? First of all, I want to know, and that's the most important thing. And second of all, what about the regional banks in the area? When any of those take a hit on some loans or pretty much not affected?
Yeah, on a personal level, the storm did come over the house. We had some 100-mile-an-hour gusts. One of our orange trees fell down in the backyard, and I spilled a drink. That was disastrous. And a picture fell off the wall, but that was really about it. So we kind of dodged a bullet there. But Joel, the hurricanes are actually a huge plus for the banks. Okay. It's what happens is the insurance companies come in, the houses, the cars, and all that have been damaged. Those loans get paid off most of the time, particularly in the flood zones where they had flood insurance. So the banks get their loans paid off, and then what happens? You borrow again to rebuild. So it actually, it pays off a bunch of loans. They're flush with cash, and some new demand comes in. A couple of them took, like some branch damage and things like that, but they're insured for it. So for the most part, even in the Houston area banks, it was kind of a non-event.
Okay. And down as Florida as well, I assume. I know you you follow the small banks, but I just saw an interesting call by Dick Beauvais yesterday on Bank of America. And I know you keep an eye on these banks, but he said it's in a phenomenally good stock. Now, he's saying based on the growth of the money supply over the next 4 to 5 years, he assumes that, and this is what I want to clear, that 1 out of every $9 in the growth of money supply winds up in Bank of America, and that Bank of America get 1 out of every $20 in loans over the same period. Number one, how does he come up with those numbers? And number two, do you agree with that?
Well, yeah. I mean, Bank of America, JP Morgan, the top 5 banks have something insane, like, 80% of the total assets in the banking industry. So, yeah, I mean, to say that 1 out of $10 that flows through the economy is going to end up at Bank of America, that's a reasonable thing to forecast. Bank of America has just a lot of moving parts there. They've got trading, investment banking, as well as banking. So I'll leave the big banks to Dick Beauvais. There's too many moving parts there for me. I like to focus on 3 or 4 factors and know who's running the bank and what the town looks like. And I tend to do pretty well just focusing on the little stuff.
All right, Tim, before we let you go, are you ready for the toughest question that I've ever asked you?
Fire away.
Okay. And it involves Bitcoin. And what people, obviously rampant speculation. It's something that you cannot value. I know something that you're not touching, but I think one of the fundamental reasons that people are looking at Bitcoin is that it could be a disruptor to the banking system. Of course, banks make a lot of money off transfer fees from, if I owe you money and I have to wire a large amount to the bank, they get your chunk. One of the major bulls that I've been following was in the check cashing business, and he talks about money flow. What is your take on Bitcoin and its potential factors to disruption in the banking industry?
It's non-existent. And then let me give you the most controversial answer I've ever given you. Bitcoin is a marvelous speculation. I don't understand completely how it works or how you use it to pay for it. It's going to have lots of excitement and lots of buzz until one of the major governments of the world decides that their market share has gotten too big. And that will be the end of it. And the governments will come out with their own digital currency as a competitor. They'll be pegged to the dollar or to the yen or whatever it is. And that'll be the end of it. But the thing you forget about Bitcoin is it's totally hidden, okay? It's not transparent. The government can't see the transactions. And guys, they're just not going to allow it to gain significant share in the economy as a currency. It's as a speculation. It's a marvelous thing. I don't understand it, but I am amazed by it. So I don't speculate in it. And I think blockchain technology is an enormous game changer. But hey, the banks are going to end up using blockchain in addition to a number of other industries. So the real opportunity here to me is blockchain, because the governments of the world are not going to allow digital currencies to take enough market share to be a threat to their government-backed currency. That's just not going to happen. It's not realistic.
It's not, but they've let it get to this point. It's hard to come out.
Speaking globally, it's not that big. Okay?
That's true. Yep.
If you compare Bitcoin to the world currency supply, it's not that big. And hey, nobody's using it to transact in anything either. Everybody's speculating like crazy in it. Nobody's spending it.
That's a great answer, and I knew I'd get that from you. Tim Melvin, Banking on Profits, Deep Value Investor, still finding value in this market. Tim, great having you on as always. Have a great end to 2017. We'll get you on early in 2018.
Fantastic, guys. Have a great holiday season.
All right, S&P futures leaking a little bit here. Only up a point here at 26.27. Kind of quiet here during the pre-market session. Dennis, you noticing any other movers here that we should pay attention to in the last 11 minutes of the show?
I just want to talk about banks again, because we were just talking with Tim Malloy. He's talking smaller banks, but those majors had such a move yesterday. That was out of the blue, too. I don't think anybody saw that coming. I don't even know really what the catalyst was. Spencer, you know what the catalyst really was kickstarted? Like, these things all opened down yesterday, and they just kept rallying the entire day. Was somebody say something about interest rates? Like, I didn't even see the TLT have a major move. Usually the TLT will have a major move when, down when the banks are going up. And they're continuing today. I mean, the run is continuing. Bank of America's trading up another 1.5% here this morning. Citigroup's up almost 1%. Goldman's up almost 1%. Wells Fargo's trading up 0.5%. The run is continuing this morning. What was the catalyst for that yesterday?
I honestly don't know. I've been sort of waiting anxiously as we approach the deadline for the debt ceiling negotiations, which is in a couple of weeks, and that has implications for the government, and then potentially more implications beyond that if they can't reach a deal. So I don't know what's happening.
The chat's buzzing on this. The chat has our back as always here. Paul comments, the new Fed chairman confirmation.
Deregulation.
Yeah, pro deregulation. Paul may be very, favorable comments regarding deregulation. And, that's what the banks, that's what, the new administration has promised here. Let's see what happens at $28 in Bank of America. You probably can't see the
huge
book
level.
Yeah.
Huge level.
Yeah, 27.
There's some size there for sure. But if it can take it out,
yeah,
that's a consideration. I mean, these things are having the 2-day move. The 2-day move just works. I mean, and the 2-day move is when you see a stock that has, an out of the character move all of a sudden one direction, you buy that stock at the close and sell, near the open the next day, and you bank. And if you would have did that in Bank of America, you'd have been buying the close because it definitely fit the 2-day move bill, 27.64, and you could be selling this morning at 27.96 here right now. So just capturing a quick 1%, just because
that's that
Johnny come latelys will come in and chase the move the next day.
Yeah, that's a big move. Goldman Sachs, Dick Beauvais kind of panned Goldman Sachs, but that didn't stop that from rallying. Still in a major trading range here, though. 235, a little bit over 245. You got to 247.74. So trading range for that one. Let's take a look at some of the other banks. Citigroup. Ooh, is that trading over 74 yet, Dennis? It closed at 73.70.
Big level there too.
Big level.
Yeah,
there.
It is 74.25.
Oh, way above that. Oh,
taking her out.
Yeah,
is there size at Citi? I gotta go look at the book.
Because that might be one that you might all of a sudden put an order out and smack get done at 74.
Not much, 10,000 only
really?
there. Must have took out some of it yesterday.
Okay, let's take a look at Wells Fargo. I mean, good thing you weren't short now.
Huge move for Wells Fargo yesterday.
Holy.
The Wells Fargo has a lower beta than the other ones. Like, it's more conservative there because it's a more conservative bank, and it blasted off into orbit yesterday too. Opened up near the lows, down at 53.87. It was up over $2 at one point in time, 55.89. That's an incredible move for WFC.
Yeah, we always talk about that opening print and opening print. You would have taken 15 cents worth of heat. Opening print, 387, 372 low, closed at 55.57. That's getting in a boost. Not much. I mean, 56 is a whole number, but above that, 56.29 to see if you can find some resistance there. CMG coming down here a little bit. Back under 300.
My 300 level still holding, Joel. Regular session. Hasn't traded yet.
We didn't make a lunch bet, though.
No. Well, it might go over 300. How high did it get?
307.
Wowzers. Yeah, people get excited.
Yeah.
Excited. There's always overshoots. That's this market just is full of them.
I want to talk about Square real quick. That was a big move yesterday, and man, you just would have had, you would have just had to stick a bid out there at 39.50, just kind of like in blind.
It was down there for like seconds.
Yeah. Yep. Open lower, had the big selling balance. I mean, if you had been peppering that thing since we gave the selling balance, let's look at the 15-minute chart if you're so inclined to play it that way. Right here is when the selling balance came out. Boom, right here at 8:30, fell 3/4 of a point, opened under 40. 39.50. And of course, it was after the fact. I looked, man, is there another low at that area? Sure enough, the November 14th low was at 39.51. You hit 39.50, and then straight up at buy stop above that opening print, and you would have not taken any heat at all. But I'm coming up with a level in this one that I'm going to be watching over the next few days. A big down move and a big bounce, 10-point move, 44.50. That's the 50% retracement. I was hoping it was going to get there yesterday. It couldn't quite do it. It got to 44.05. So that's going to be the area of importance in Square over the the next couple of days. See if you can get over there and clear that 50% retracement. But overhead supply too, probably hanging after that big downgrade really caught the stock. And then just a good example of the 2-day move. You just would have had to have been quick to get out of it.
Last night on Fast Money, they came out bullish Square, and Square blasts off to 43.30 or 43.40 last night. Just blast off in orbit because Fast Money very influential. Funny thing on Mad Money, Kramer comes out and is bearish on Square in the short term, is a technical rant, and the stock gives it all back and goes all the way down to 42 even on Kramer. So I was just joking. I was like, man, Mad Money, I guess, is more influential than Fast Money, because Fast Money gave it the 2% gain after hours, and then Kramer knocked 3% off of it with his bearish call, saying it could go down to the, he was looking at the fib numbers, saying 35 was, and then he was giving 30. He was giving some different scenarios from his technical analyst. So interesting, that it was just chopping around as one CNBC program bullish and the other CNBC program bearish. And it's amazing how much influence these guys have, and we've been talking about that, on the show here for quite a while. It's amazing how much influence the commentators have on CNBC.
All right.
At least right now.
Des, just want to get your opinion here on IBM. It's hanging here. I don't know, Mr. Buffalo.
Still hanging out.
Yeah.
It looks itchy to me. It looks like it wants to go. The longer it takes to go can sometimes be concerning there, but I think it's the only problem is you got a 155 at 4.5 highs back there at the end of October. So even if it goes, it's going to run to another wall at 155. So it's like you start analyzing, it looks pretty good on the chart, you get a little cup and handle, but I see a lot of resistance at 155 too, so hard to get really excited about it.
All right, and let's see here. We are looking at just some stocks for the chat. Ed Parker, VERI, back in play. Ed AI play. I mean, Dennis, what do you think?
Talked about this one, and I wish I would have bought it when we were talking about it, and then started trading 20.5 in the pre-market on our show, and I was like, I don't know. Never even opened down there, and it went straight up that day. Hung out there for another couple days. I mean, 22 is just a massive amount of support down there, and it blasted off yesterday. So it took off yesterday. It looks interesting on the chart. If you like the 2-day move, that would indicate that it could maybe test 30 here today. The way I've been playing it, I've said this before, is I'm long ACTG. Very conservative way to play at ACTG as other businesses as well, but they own a huge chunk of VERI, and when VERI went for that big pop, that's when you see ACTG going from 4 to 5. So you think ACTG is going to get some life here again? You can, or if you think VERI is going to get some life here again, you can buy the VERI or you can buy the ACTG.
This Bob is talking about Tesla here, kind of been out of the spotlight as of late. This one look itchy too here, Dennis. You had those 4 highs right at 317.5, 318 area. I see the 656,000 black trade. That must have been across after the close, but there's one that's trying to break out of the top of the trading range. Jar's asking about AMDX or
AMDS.
Is that a actual stock here?
Oh wait, it's not.
Nope, not a stock anymore, so we can't cover that one. Stocks that Spinner's mentioning some stocks that hit some 52-week lows yesterday. Dennis, any changes in balances here as we come into the 9 o'clock hour?
Square imbalance has grown 311,000 to buy here. That thing's gonna be volatile as hell. It's gonna have 5, 6, 7% range again here today. So it's I was trading Square actively all the way up, but the volatility is so much now. You know how I am. When things get that volatile, I back off because it's not as easy to control the risk.
Reward, yeah.
I'm the exact opposite. There's so many traders that come in and they want to go to the volatility, and that's what they want to trade. I like boring. I'm not quite as boring as Tim Melvin. He really likes boring because he's buying stocks that don't trade for days on end. But I want conservative, I want more predictable trading outcomes. And it's hard to predict, a stock when it's, going down to 39, then rallying to 44 in an hour, then going back down to 42. I mean, it's hard to control that risk. And I'm all about risk management. So Square right now is the opposite of, how I trade. And that's why I haven't traded Square the last couple of days. Although all the way up when it was just slowly, steadily climbing, I was loving that rally. And now I've backed off my Square trading just because it's too volatile.
All right, S&P futures up 2 1/4, 28 1/4, 29.75. Your pre-market high. We'll be looking for that. Absolutely no resistance in sight. Let's take a quick look at crude oil futures for our crude oil futures traders. We have backed off, double top once again to put it in, but now you're looking at a triple bottom. So technically forming here at the 57.50 area. Gold now down $8, running into trouble at that psychological $1,300 level. Take a look at the gold chart. It has been in a trading range for quite some time. So, all right, Spencer, 9 o'clock. You want to wrap up today's show and preview what's on the docket for Thursday?
Before I do that, are there any other big imbalances besides Square?
Bank of America, 151,000 to buy. The banks all buy balances continue. JP Morgan, which we didn't give any love to, had an incredible move yesterday, moving up $4. It's trying to break out to a new 52-week high here this morning, just up there kissing it right now. It's got 59,000 to buy here as well. I do see a sell imbalance in Wells Fargo, 27,000 sell stocks trading up, so I imagine that's going to flip to a buy imbalance. Visa, MasterCard have just been machines again. Visa's got 50,000 to buy. MasterCard has 32,000 to buy. Full disclosure, still got MasterCard in my investment portfolio. It's about 8-9 years I've had that one now. Alibaba, 70,000 to buy. This morning, GE is 215,000 to buy. I always like to go and look at the SNAP one as well, because sometimes it's significant. It's not this morning, though. It's only 9,500 to sell, so not much happened in Snapland. That's pretty much it. Not that many other notable ones.
All right. Well, thanks for that, though. That's it for our show today, folks. Looking ahead to tomorrow, we've got another good one for you. I'm sure we will not be. I was worried, now that we're out of earnings season, will there be news? And man, this seems like every day there's always news. So we won't be short of that. On tomorrow's show, we're joined by Fari Hamzi, founder of Hamzi Analytics. He is definitely a favorite. He's one of the original pre-market prep guests from way back in the day in 2014. So joined by Fari on tomorrow's show. But if you want to listen to any part of our show from today, again, you can do that on our podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Stitcher, or by going to youtube.com/BenzingaTV. It's where our show is recorded and aired live as well. Thanks to all of our listeners who participated in the chat, premarket.benzinga.com. Thanks to our guest, Tim Melvin. Thank you to everyone who listened, and hope you all have a good day. We'll see you guys tomorrow.